Alright guys, TouchCrab here back again today. Hope you're enjoying your day so far, and today we are going to talk about the pause feature potentially for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now we move into a PC CDL environment, this becomes a lot more possible, and it was a major discussion point throughout the Modern Warfare season. When we were on land at the start of the season, we did have a pause feature. It didn't necessarily work greater than Minnesota, and I think the London events, they were using it to some degree. When we went to the online environment, for some reason it just could not work at all, and other esports use this to great effect. Counter-Strike that I've watched for a number of years, if someone disconnects, if something goes wrong, something glitches out, they can just pause the game and replay it from a certain point in time, and everything just begins as it was, and you have no issues effectively with disconnect and lag outs because they can replay the game from the situation. This was a massive issue in the online season throughout Modern Warfare, and if a pause feature had been in the game, we would have had a lot less frustrations from the competitive side, and competitive integrity would have been maintained to a much higher degree. Very intrigued to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thank you for doing that. Before we get into this pause feature stuff, wanted to mention this, and I wonder if you guys had any similar experiences, because Happy said this, tested positive for COVID antibodies from the Minnesota event back in March. I mean, he corrects himself to February, but it was actually in late January, so managed to get it wrong on both occasions. But a lot of players talking about how during this period they were incredibly unwell, and as attached says, I had the exact same symptoms over our tournament in Minnesota, the sickest I've ever been. Post Minnesota, I had the sickest, I've been feeling in years, and we had this as well. So Simp says for sure got it there too. I think almost everyone did, to be honest, without knowing. Blast says I was in bed for 10 days with a fever for 5 or 6 days. I've never experienced something like that. 100% had it. Same. Literally slept for 4 days straight. Zoomer as well. Dude, I wouldn't doubt it. I'd never felt so sick in my life after that event. I got the worst flu of my life right before Minnesota, and so many people were getting sick. 10 to 105 fever, sleeping 16 hours a day. It was crazy. So all the pros talking about how they were super ill around like that end of January Minnesota event. Was it actually the pandemic arriving in the US earlier? I wonder if you guys had any similar experiences around that time, or if you attended that event and felt something similar. Maybe it was just another flu that happened to be going around at the same time, but interesting nonetheless. This then came out from Scump a couple of days ago. The pause feature for the CDL apparently coming soon. I'll just share this clip on screen.
A PC crash during a tournament is bound to happen. I mean, more than likely, yeah. But apparently they're working on a pause feature as well, so hopefully the pause feature's good. I don't know.
So there's no doubt that this past season in Modern Warfare, a lot of the pros were very frustrated with the competitive integrity of the game, and a lot of that happened when we went to the online arena from, starting from April time effectively. There were a number of situations where players would either lag out, they would get booted out of the game, and you find yourself in a position where it's like 190 to 180, and what do you do? Effectively, the CDL's decision was you're just going to play out the game, and it was very frustrating from a pro player perspective and from a viewer perspective, and of course for the casters as well. Someone lags out the game or gets booted off, as we're going to talk about at the World Championships here in just a second. They did manage to deal with that eventually by, playing the games 1 hour in advance, or, maybe even more than 1 hour, who really knows, of when it was actually going live. But, even before that, right, in some of the online home series, there was a big problem with competitive integrity when players would just be lagging out of the games, and there's nothing really they could do about that. I mean, you guys remember Pristini, when, the tornado hit or whatever. Slacked had a situation as well where he lagged out as well, and I think that was against the London Royal Ravens or something on, it was on some Petrograd hardpoints, and this I think is, feeding into the response that Surge Octane gives right here, because this was the opportunity for Seattle Surge to get back into the season. Like, if they won this event, or if they did pretty well at this event, they'd be able to make a run potentially through, to actually get into the winners bracket of champs. That wasn't out of the question. However, it doesn't really go to plan, and Octane says competitive integrity strikes again. $400 million league, by the way, 4 versus 5, no replay, sick joke, try and fire me, people cannot do their jobs. Literally our most important series of the year, we can't play it because the Call of Duty League decided we cannot replay a hardpoint. So definitely there's a lot of questions here, and they did introduce a rule to say, like, look, if the team's combined score is less than 150 and then like a lag out happens, then we can replay, and if there's like not much difference between the teams and something, they came up with a few rules. But the problem is, if you're like a booter or something and you're DDoSing someone to hit them offline, you can just wait until it gets to that point of the game, and it's a very hard thing to determine, right? If someone's at 120 to 100 but like the team with 100 has streaks, is that enough to like, but if the team with 120 actually has the rotation, is that enough to decide, okay, it's close enough to do a replay? It's very subjective, right? And you can get referees and like a board, like a panel, I suppose, to look at the situation and say, look, is this close enough in theory to do a replay? Maybe it is, maybe we just go with it, maybe we don't. But yeah, they effectively decided, look, the rules are if someone lags out after this certain point of the game, you're just playing it to conclusion, which effectively does just grant a free map win to the team that actually has 5 players on the team. So you know, it's very frustrating, of course, to be on the receiving end for this, as a lot of players and a lot of teams were this past season, with lag out situations happening much more often in the online arena. Now, next season, I imagine we are going to get some LAN events. That is certainly the plan, but it may not be the prevalent form. I definitely expect to have some online tournaments next season. Maybe some of the home series are online, some of them are on LAN, but whatever exactly they decide to do, we're going to have some online competition next season. And the question is there, well, if people lag out, people get booted off as they were at the World Championships, and we're just going to look at it in a second. I mean, Slack comes back to this and says, yeah, it was against London. He just talks about how exactly he lagged out in this situation. The game was very close early on, as you can see, like 60 to 37, but you know, in this situation, it wasn't replayed, and that's really when the frustration started coming out. I mean, even from apathy, right, I put my time and heart into this, and you know, it's absolutely a joke, right? So, a pause feature would potentially stop these problems. You could effectively rewind to a point in the game where Slack was lagged out or whatever, whether it be 37 to 60 or whatever it might be, give the streaks back to the players, and then just continue the game from there. Give you one of those screens that used to happen way back in Black Ops 2, and well, in other games as well, where it would count you down from 5 when you were finding a new host, and then get straight back into the game, right? A number of other pros echoing the sentiment from apathy here, absolute morons who run this league. This was, well, early in the World Championship, where Kenny was getting kicked off on the Optic Gaming Los Angeles team, and I think he got kicked off on map 1 and map 4, so both the hard points that he wasn't there. They ended up winning it in a game 5, right, because Dashy came in that series in a pretty remarkable fashion. But you know, as Kenny says, really hope the squad pulls it out. Brandon is subbing in last map because I don't want to risk lagging out due to us not being able to have a mid-game substitute. And well, if a pause feature was in the game, of course it wouldn't be ideal, right? You do the pause feature, you come back in, and then Kenny still gets like booted off again a couple of minutes later. But it certainly makes a much better situation that we've been having to deal with here over this past Modern Warfare season, and also at the World Championships, right, when Zero got booted off for the London Royal Ravens. I think it was against Toronto Ultra in their first match, and he said, well, look, we tried to 4v5 it didn't work out. Yeah, Zero did a video as well talking about exactly what happened to him, and you know, like when he lagged out and all the issues that came as a result of this. So yeah, remarkable situation, but quite frankly, this pause feature sounds like a great thing, and it was really a question mark, like, what is Infinity Ward doing? You had something in the game for the first time in Call of Duty history. You managed to make it work here at the start of the game in a LAN environment at the Minnesota event, where it was used like 1 or 2 times. That actually did kind of seem to work. We go to online, for some reason it just doesn't work at all, and definitely something that CDL should be pushing, and it seems like Treyarch are doing a good job, or at least attempting to get a pause feature in the works that actually is going to work for this upcoming season. So yeah, very intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think Treyarch are going to be able to pull it off where Infinity Ward could not? And well, what impact could this potentially have on the competitive scene next season? Just before we finish the video, I wanted to mention this from Atlanta FaZe. This weekend they're doing a Black Ops 4 throwback 4 versus 4 tournament, and well, there's some pretty cool teams, as you can see right here. So we've got Critical, Shotzi, Illy, and Hookah's one of the teams are Apathy, Assault, Silly, and Vivid the Warrior. We also have the Optic Gaming Los Angeles team of Slasher, TJ, Kenny, and Accuracy is subbing in. So we don't really know what's going on with their 4th right now. Of course, Accuracy is a player for the Minnesota Rocker for next season alongside Attach, Priester, and Major Maniac. But these are the core 3 that were going to be on the 4v4 team. Who knows what's going on? But yeah, of course, as we talked about earlier today, Optic Gaming Los Angeles in a very questionable situation right now with all the drama potentially, well, I'm sure it is, going on behind the scenes. And well, as soon as everything is confirmed, I will do my best to be the first to let you know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
You
have to detonate it? Oh, okay.
They're like response.
Yeah, detonate it. You got that shit, Cole. Nice. Let's go. We're out this bitch. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Oh my god, I'm getting mad killed, boy.
The guy that actually cheats, bro. I'm losing my mind.
Same hit and score. 31. They hit the aim. They shot everybody.
I gotta clip that. I gotta clip that. I'm getting shot through a wall.